Hello again, friends. This is just a quick thought about the three levels of what I'm finding that deal with the afterlife. We're here on earth. That's one level. Second thing is we die and then we go to a life review or life purification as it's been described to me. And the third thing is you're in paradise. How do I get this stuff? That's one of the biggest questions I get. It comes through a medium, a friend of mine who didn't ask for this gift, if you will. She doesn't think of it as a gift, but she gets visited by souls, and many of them are my relatives. And so as my relatives have come through, they've come through so often now that I've questioned them and asked them about these kind of things. What has surprised me is that what they tell me maps very closely to what the church calls the communion of saints, the Catholic Church. I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic school and everything, but I never really took all this too seriously, never thought about it that much. The communion of saints has three levels. There's a level of souls here on earth that are in the battle, in the struggle. They're called the church militant. There's a level of souls after you die that are in, the Catholic Church calls it purgatory, but the spirit does not. But there's a period after you die where you go through a life review, and they're called the church suffering. And then there's the final, when you're in paradise, the church triumphant is where all the saints and everybody is once you get through purgatory or the suffering. I'm not going to call it that anymore because that's not what it is. It's basically we're here on earth, we go through a life review, and then we're in paradise. But I was just surprised as these souls came through to me that what they were describing maps very closely to this communion of saints hierarchy. So you're here on earth, you're doing your best, you're living your life, you die. Everybody is then led to a life review, and then you go to, that life review takes a certain amount of time. It's different for everybody. Everybody's life review is different. You're with God when this happens, by the way. You're not someplace separate, but you're with God when this happens. I've been told that God actually, or the source, leads this life review. It can take a long time or a short time. My son passed away in 2020. He just told me he completed life review, so that's 6 years for him. My grandfather, who passed away in 1981, is still in life review. And so I don't know if it maps to what your life was like or the problems that you had in life, but I know that it's different for every individual. And then once you complete life review, you're in paradise and you're doing a whole bunch of different things. And I'll talk about that later. But that's all I want to cover in this brief segment here, is that what I'm finding through the souls that visit me, and I've talked to maybe 15 of my relatives and a bunch of other people too, but they've come through my friend RM, the reluctant medium, and I ask them questions and I actually interview them. They hear me and they answer through her. So it's a pretty wild setup. I would have thought I was a nut job a few years ago, but that's the answers that I'm getting, and I'm just really surprised that it does map very closely to what the church teaches. More later. Bye-bye.